session by Lighting Dreams. At the onset, I request everyone to take care of technical mishaps by switching on and off the mic or video only when necessary. Lighting Dreams is an initiative by the student of NLUs to provide practice materials and guidance to those aspiring for CLAT and other law entrance exams free of cost. We organize GK discussions, quizzes, and sectional tests on a daily basis and hold toppers talk every Sunday. We have a YouTube channel where current affairs and videos related to legal judgments are uploaded. We also have a blog channel where, on a daily basis, blogs related to current affairs and legal news are uploaded for the aspirants. It gives us immense pleasure to announce that the team is currently mentoring more than 280 aspirants. Today, we have with us respected ma'am Tanaya Gupta coming from the city of Jaunpur. Ma'am has completed her LLB and LLM and is now placed at Varanasi as civil judge of the fast track court. The whole team of Lightning Dreams thanks ma'am for bestowing us with her precious time to the law students and aspirants. Today, ma'am will be expressing her views on life as a lawyer, prep to present. We hope all of us will get to experience something very informative. All participants are requested to put down their questions in the chat box. We will try to take them at last. And kindly maintain the decorum of the session. Now, ma'am, the mic is yours.
Ma'am, kindly unmute yourself.
Yeah. Am I audible right now?
Yeah, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Khyati, and very good evening, everyone. And I hope you all are doing well. It must be very hard time for all of us. Every one of us have lost some of our near and dear ones, and it's going to be a tough time for everyone. But let us pray to the Almighty, and this too shall pass. So many of so as we all know that we have gathered here on this virtual platform called Zoom, and I extend my sincere thanks to Lighting Dream, the initiative for aspiring the CLAT aspirants and motivating and encouraging them in this hard time. So, as we all know that the topic is the need of law, its impact and importance, and I don't want to make it a boring lecture. Rather, I would like to have an interactive session. So, we often hear about civilization. So, it often comes to our mind that what is the demarcating line, or what is the guiding factor between civilized and uncivilized. So, it is the human behavior or the social well-being of any person, and law plays a very important role in guiding the conduct and norm, and which lays down the norm of conduct for any person or any group of persons. Okay, so and law acts as a catalyst in the process of social transformation, as our society is a dynamic society and not a static one. So, with the change in the society and with the passage of time, the law keeps on changing, and the requirement keeps on changing. So, we hear about amendments taking place in our the existing laws and all. So, without law, there would be no legal recourse. For example, it sets an accountability. For example, if A is driving, he's rashly driving and he hits B, who is an elderly person or who is crossing the road, and he dies, or he is severely injured. Then what is if there exists no law, then what will be the legal recourse available to B who is hit by someone? So it is a very, it is a very significant example, and there are many more. A law also helps in protecting and safeguarding the interest of our vulnerable sections of the society, like children, women, the transgender community. Few years back, I hope you guys remember, um, the Honorable Supreme Court of India uh, declared as void the section 377 of the Indian Penal Code, uh, which was a very, I mean, it was a very watermark judgment for the LGBTQ community. It, I mean, validated the rights of LGBTQ community. And similarly, there was a judgment on triple talaq. The Honorable Supreme Court of India declared it as null and void, and it was also unconstitutional. So, next is, in India, we follow the theory of checks and balance. I will not go into the technicalities because all of you are new. I think you must be aware and not very much equipped with these legal terminologies and the judgments. I hope so. So in India, there are three wings, as we know, three pillars, we can say: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. So the legislature, that is the parliament, makes law, but any law which is inconsistent with the fundamental principles laid down in our constitution is declared null and void. It is often said as unconstitutional. You might be thinking, what is unconstitutional? So our constitution is the grand norm. I uh, I think those who have read the jurisprudence, they might be equipped with a grand norm, which is the basic, I mean, the apex law from which the other laws derive their validity. So any law which is inconsistent or in derogation to those principles which is laid down in our constitution is declared as unconstitutional, and our Supreme Court, the apex court, is empowered to do so. So it is called the theory of checks and balance. Otherwise, अगर ऐसा नहीं होगा, अगर कोई अथॉरिटी नहीं होगी जो कि जो लॉ बन रहा है उसको उसको चेक कर सके कि वो मतलब ऐसा तो नहीं कि आर्बिट्ररी है. सो सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ये रोल है कि वो इट इज़ द एपेक्स कोर्ट विच इज़ empowered to check the constitutionality of those laws. Our society is dynamic and keeps on changing. The very best example is the advancement of technology. With the advancement of technology, there are high-profile crimes. There are cyber crimes, and hacking and all. So after that, after the advancement of technology, uh, there has been made a number of amendments in our existing laws. For example, the Evidence Act and the Criminal Procedure Code and the Indian Penal Code, which includes offenses which are committed through using the information technology. We have cyber forensics to track those offenses. Uh, the originator, who from where the, for example, the very best example is the WhatsApp group. We often come to see in news that fake news or some kind of um objectionable videos or images are being transmitted in groups. So whenever such an incident happens, uh, so the very admin of such group, or the cyber forensics, um they track the originator of those content from where that where that very content originated. So who is to be held liable? So that very person from whose system or computer that very content originated, he will be held liable. So in this way, law sets accountability, and it also helps in laying down that what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. Law is often mixed with morality. We think that what is moral should be or should also be legal. Uh, the very best example is the live-in relationship. Recently, the Punjab and Haryana High Court held that the live-in relationship is immoral, and it is against the social norms and all. But in that very case, the Honorable Apex Court extended protection to the partners of such live-in relationship. But in addition to that judgment, the Honorable Supreme Court also said that it will deny protection to any of those partner who is married. If any of the partners in the live-in relationship is married, then he will not get protection. Why is it so? Can any of one you tell? Anyone of you?
Ma'am, because there is a one presumption that both the partner must be unmarried for the living in relationship. So if one partner is married, so that cannot be granted protection under this.
No, not appropriate. It is it is because the one. Ha, Khyati, you wanna answer?
Yes, according to me, what I think is because if we consider marriage, then in India we have a culture where we consider marriage to be sacrament, and it is not that divorce is not
Contract.
actually promoted. It is also some form of contract in personal laws, but it is not actually promoted to have divorce in India. So law also understands this, judiciary also understands this, and because of this, I think. It will somewhat become adultery if we look at it. If somebody is, even if adultery is not a criminal offense anymore, it will
Yeah.
become a civil offense if somebody is married and they are having live in relationship with somebody else. So it will be another form of crime, probably because of this.
Not exactly, but the reason is that that partner who is married, he or she is also having a spouse. So to safeguard and protect the interest of that spouse, this very provision has been this very I mean judgment has been pronounced to safeguard the interest of that partner.
Okay, ma'am.
Uh, with with every person and every individual in our country, specifically in our country, has a right, and every other individual has a correlative duty to not to infringe in those rights, right? If there exists any infringement, then there arises a liability to either to compensate in some or the other forms. And in India, we have in India, not in India, but generally we have a lot of theories of punishment. We have a reformative theory, which we follow in India. Then we have punitive theory and retributive theories. So law also checks that there should not be any disobedience of any orders, and although not all the system are perfect, every system has its own flaws, whether it is judiciary or executive. And as we're talking about the need of law, so in my experience and so far as my profession is concerned, I cannot imagine a life or anything without law, because as we are born, as any person, as a newborn takes birth, he is governed by the law of the land. We cannot imagine a life without law. And after the world after this COVID-19 pandemic has changed a lot. This changed world has really taught us the importance of information technology and computer system, with the help of which we have joined on this virtual platform. And in being part of the judicial system, I also experienced that this information technology plays a very vital role, because during this pandemic, the bail, remand, and all the urgent applications are done through this platform in virtual mode and not in physical mode. So, uh, excuse me. So, this was all. Anyone, if you want to ask any question, then you can unmute yourself and ask. I mean, in the meanwhile, if you want to ask something. And in the last, we would also discuss the career prospects as requested by you all. So, uh, Um, you must have also read in the the Code of Criminal Procedure, the section 164, and during this time when the all the working of the courts are going through virtual mode, we have been allotted, especially the female candidates, female officers are allotted the duty of recording a statement. So, uh, what is the importance, what is the significance of this section, and why is it being recorded by female officers only? I would like to tell you, as I have told, that I will not go into the technicalities and I will not make it a boring session. Rather, we would discuss in a practical way,
Howdy.
so that you would come to
How?
know that what are the things which we actually, what are the duties which we actually perform after we get into the service, because it is totally different as we think, or we uh, uh, keep in mind that as we see in movies and all, but it is not like that. It is totally different what we are doing in actual working of the code and what we imagine that we do, because there is a very thick difference, not a slight difference. So what we do in when recording section 164, it is basically a recording of a statement of witnesses. Witnesses may include any aggrieved person, uh, against whom an offense has been committed, and it also includes any person who is acquainted with the facts and circumstances of any case. For example, he is an eyewitness, he has seen the occurrence of the offense. So, uh, and one thing more I would like to say, that during our LLB, we read a lot of stuff and a lot of sections, and we find it very hard to keep it in mind. But in actual practice, a very few are applicable. Not all the sections are applicable. So one section is very, is very used to in practice, and that is section 165.
Ma'am, you're not audible. So she must join again. I guess there is some network issue from her side, so she will join again.
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, I'm very sorry.
No
It
problem.
got disconnected due to
Yeah,
some
ma'am. No problem.
reasons. So I was talking about section 363 and 366. Uh, uh, it contains that if um, he absconds with a minor girl, if he takes away with him any minor girl, uh, so he would be liable for that. In many cases, while recording a statement, the girl says that she on her own went with that man, and he did not that man did not force her to go with him, but still that man is held liable because he is major, knowing that the girl is minor. He took away with him he took her away with him, irrespective of the fact that the minor gave her consent, because in law the consent of a minor is considered as no consent.
Ma'am, can
So
I
in
ask you a question in regard to this case law?
sure.
Ma'am, shouldn't there be a change in respect to this age for minors in certain
Yes,
cases? Like,
yeah, I'm of the same view because these days uh, girls or boys of 15, 16 age are quite mature. They should not be considered as minor because what is the I mean, the factor which the guiding factor behind the age demarcation is that they do not develop such kind of a mental a maturity level or that mental state, but the
and ma'am,
girls and boys of
there has always been this thing that law is always like it changes with the society. That
right.
we cannot like function with the same laws that were in the earlier societies. So I think it should change. Like there should be some PIL or writ petition for this.
There is always a discussion going on this matter, especially in amendment in juvenile justice, the Protection of Minors and Juvenile Justice Act. But let's see. I hope this amendment will come soon, because it is very the very necessity of the time.
And ma'am,
I think.
I have
uh,
put in one question in the chat box for the misuse of the section 43 of UAPA Act. Like, what are your views for that matter?
Sorry, I'm not aware of this section.
Ma'am, unlawful activities
No,
like
no, I know the act, I know, but I'm not aware of this section, section 43.
ma'am, like the a bail is not granted if like the prima facie it is like I'll just look up and read the whole section for you. Ma'am, the crux of the matter is that a bail is not granted if it is believed by the court that that person is surely involved in the anti-national activities. So
Okay,
this section is misused sometimes.
okay.
In fact, a lot of times.
This is not only one example, but there are many examples of misuse of any provision. But in the matters of criminal law also, when bail is granted, only prima facie case is looked at, and not any evidence or any other documentary evidence or oral evidence is taken into consideration. So there must be, because the purpose of this very act is to protect the security and internal security and safety of the nation. So I think this is the purpose that it is not being repealed since date till date, and
So, ma'am, my question was that how can we lower the impact of such misuse?
see, there is no, I don't think there is any definite answer to this question, ki how can we, uh, because as I have already told that there are many laws and many provisions are being misused. Can anyone answer this question, then how can we uh, lessen or lower down the misuse of any section or any law. Can anyone answer? As I already told that there are loopholes in
Nobody has that answer.
because there are loopholes in every system. No system is perfect. Every system has its own flaws.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that's why we have a provision that uh, there can be, for example, for the first bail application is presented, it is refused or granted, then the other party can also go for challenging it in the higher authority. For example, in lower courts, if any bail application is presented and it is granted or it is refused, then the aggrieved party may go in the challenging it in the higher court, so that um, if any correction, if it needs any correction, then it can be done. That's why we have provision of revision and appeal, even second appeal.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, there is a saying that uh, no one is above law. Whosoever you are, whosoever high you are, but you are not above the law. There is a question in the chat box.
Yeah, Khyati, can you read the question?
This last one by Vihan Acharya. IPC is arbitrary and patriarchal.
No, not at all. Not at all. It is not arbitrary. Uh, Even when you go through the IPC, you will find many sections. Many sections. Just see, IPC was codified in the year 1860, and it finds its applicability till date. But many of the sections which do not find, which are very, I mean, the archaic, has already been repealed, and the process will go on with the passage of time. For example, adultery is the best example. Adultery has been repealed, and section 377, the unnatural offenses, this section has been partially repealed, and many more. When you'll go through the sections, you will find many sections has been repealed, and the endeavor of the honorable Supreme Court has always been to prevent the arbitrariness in any of the law. It keeps on uh, it keeps the theory of checks and balance, and from time to time we have seen that our Supreme Court has played a very exemplary judicial activism in safeguarding the interest of, of the individuals. However, there are some loopholes in every system. Um, and any other question?
You can continue. If we will having any question, we will ask.
Okay. Um, So, law is not only that which is incorporated in our textbooks and law books, but it also includes the judicial pronouncements of our Supreme Court. For example, the uh, live-in relationship, we do not find any provision regarding this in any law book. However, the Supreme Court extended its protection to safeguard the interest of the partners in such a relationship. So, how, I mean, is there any of you who think that live-in relationship is immoral and it should not be given validity and it should not be accepted? I mean, against who is against this concept? I think all of you are in favor of, and which should also what should I say? We should also hail and praise the this endeavor of the Supreme Court, because in the recent past, Supreme Court has really played a very judicial activism, really. I mean, in its real sense. Uh, I remember during this vaccination drive, the government policy was that in the age group 18 to 44, the vaccination should be paid. But Supreme Court was the only institution which came forward, and it turned up and said that the vaccination should be free for all and it should not be paid for any age group. So I really, I mean, hail and just these judgments are very a turning point for us. So actually, this the very topic, that the need of law and its impact, it is an endless topic. So we need a lot of time to discuss it, and there are not one actually for this discussion. As I wanted to it to be an interactive session, I did not go through, I mean, lectures and then point out things. I just made it on my own, so that we should discuss the real time issues and the practicability, what we experience in our day to day life. uh, we often experience that there are international disputes and territorial disputes. So uh, we have also got international law to decide upon such issues, and we have got commercial laws such as arbitration and all.
So, ma'am, you
So
can
with the
enlighten us about the judiciary and its preparation also.
Yes, definitely. Let's talk about the career prospects and the very moment when you all decided that you will join this LLB course, you must have been something in mind. You must have been influenced with some or the other, your near and dear ones, or any friend or someone who influenced you to join this very course. So for me, my influencer was my father. He's an advocate and he has been practicing in the Jaunpur District Court for the last 42 years. So I have seen various challenges he experienced in day-to-day life, and a, a variety of cases he deals. Uh, so he was my influencer. Um, in the initial years when I was in the first year of LLB, let me tell you, I did my LLB honors from the Banaras Hindu University. It was my 3 years course and not the year when I joined. Uh, the same year, 5-year course was introduced in BHU, but I was aware. But I was not aware because I already had done my graduation 3 years. I already invested in my graduation, so there was no sense of getting into 5 year course. So in my first year, I was thinking of going into some corporate job to join with some law firms like Luthra and Luthra, and or to get into litigation. So there are many career prospects, like you can go into litigation after completing your 5 year course. Uh, in my opinion, if you really want to learn the very proceedings of uh, cases, then get started from lower court, from district court, and not from the high court. Just spend 2 3 years with with any experienced um, advocate, and then you can, if you find it like going to the high court and supreme court, then you can go. Otherwise, for really learning, you should start with some lower court. Then the second option is to get into academics like LLB, then after LLM, and then PhD, and then you can become assistant professor in some law university, or there are many options. You can get into private university, then state university, central university. It is also a very good option because what I find interesting in teaching profession is that you are always updated. You teach uh, students, and then they ask you a variety of questions, so it is interactive as well as you get to learn something each and every day. And the third one is obviously judiciary. So do you all want to know about the stages, what all stages are there in the preparation? And okay, in it is known by PCSJ in UP especially, and you have like that in other states as well. So UP PCSJ exam consists of 3 stages, 3 levels. The first one is pre, mains, then interview. Pre is objective, and I got selected in my very first attempt, and in the recent batch, that was 2018 batch in Uttar Pradesh PCSJ. So in the pre-preparation includes a very not a very deep knowledge, but just go through the bare acts and legal provisions, the burning case laws, and obviously the current affairs. General knowledge is a must because you will face a separate paper of GK, current affairs, in pre as well as in mains. So it is equally important. And the moment when you start preparation, for the first step is to get the syllabus of your state, whichever state you are going to appear in the exams. Just go through the syllabus, then start going through the previous year question papers, be it pre, breed, mains. Just go through the question papers, and not testing your knowledge. Just go through it. Just get to know what kind of questions are being asked. What is the trend? Just to know the trend of the examination, because it is very important to know what kind, because the syllabus is बहुत ज़्यादा syllabus है, and you have to study strategically and not like layman. So just go through the question papers, and then start strategically by setting a timetable for your law subjects as well as your GK subjects. All of you are not do not belong to UP, so I'm not aware of the uh, syllabus of other states. Especially, I am aware only of the states adjoining UP. For example, Bihar, MP, and Rajasthan and Jharkhand. I'm aware of these states. So if you belong to these states or you are aspiring to appear in this the examination of these states, then it might help you. So when you prepare your timetable, just set a timetable in which you are giving equal time to your law subjects as well as your GK subjects. Just read newspaper daily. There is no other option either, and I would not even recommend to go through online news, I mean just e-newspapers. No, go through the newspaper. And I also used to keep the cuttings. For example, if any sports event occurred or any Olympics or these French Open and English Open and all. Uh, so I used to keep, because there are very less time to keep those things in mind, and also uh, there is a shortage of time that you note it down daily. So the best thing is that if you have time for now, because I don't think we are going to have exams in 2-3 months. So if you have time, you can note it down as well as keep the cuttings. So when you will read it in some magazine or newspaper, and as you have kept the cutting as well. So just before the examination, keep those cuttings in a file, and just before the examination, uh, 1 week or 2 weeks back, just start going through those cuttings. And once you have already read it in some magazine or you have wrote it down somewhere, and now you are reading the same content, so it बहुत अच्छे से दिमाग में बैठ जाता है, because you have gone through multiple times. So ये एक तो स्ट्रैटेजी ये हो गई. बिकॉज जीके से ना बहुत डिफरेंस आता है मार्क्स में. लॉ तो सब पढ़ते हैं, बट हम जो है जीके से वो हमारा टच जो है वो लूज हो जाता है. सो जीके आप रेगुलर
Ma'am, you're not audible. I think you should join again.
I think ma'am will join it again.
Yeah, yeah.
आई एम वेरी सॉरी. I don't know what's the issue. It's just getting disconnected. Anyways, I was talking about magazine, some law magazine as well as current affairs. Just get yourself updated. Keep yourself updated, because there are days, and keep yourself motivated. Because when you study for, I'm just giving my example. I um, completed my LLB in 2017, and I prepared from my home only. I joined a coaching institute in my hometown itself, and as you know, and you might not be knowing that Jaunpur is a very small town. You are not well equipped with the resources and all. So I prepared from there. So what difficulties I faced, that there were days you cannot always feel motivated. There will be days when you will feel like quitting, like अब नहीं हो पाएगा, and get some alternative दिमाग में आएगा या फिर. And one important thing, get yourself detached from the social media. Or even if you are using it, just stay away from people who are hyperactive, because you will feel demotivated. You will feel like अरे यार लोग घूम रहे हैं, हम कहाँ हैं, हम कहीं नहीं हैं, हमारा क्या एग्जिस्टेंस है. बहुत उससे बहुत डिमोटिवेशन फील होता है when you see your I'm talking about after you complete LLP. You will see many of your friends and um family members keep asking, and then many of your friends will get a job. तब तो बहुत ही बुरा लगता है कि हम अभी पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं और others are getting job. तो वो बहुत तो just get detached, or otherwise make an account for which you will for learning purpose, because there are many pages, and there are many uh, coaching institutes which keep on posting contents which may help you in your preparation. So ये हो गया. सोशल मीडिया से तो दूर रहना है, और कंसिस्टेंसी ज़रूरी है. जस्ट बी कंसिस्टेंट. ऐसा नहीं कि किसी दिन 1 घंटे पढ़ रहे हैं, किसी दिन 8 घंटे पढ़ रहे हैं. कंसिस्टेंसी होनी चाहिए. While making your timetable, you also uh, demarcate time for each subjects. For example, you'll give uh, law ko agar you're giving 4 hours, then also give at least 2 hours for GK. But but you need to study regularly. GK is मतलब 1-2 दिन की बात नहीं है, एक एक महीने की बात नहीं है. जीके तो रेगुलरली पढ़ना पड़ेगा. फिर टाइम टेबल हो गया. एंड ट्राई कि बहुत प्रेशर ना लें. when you get into pressure, then you will not going to study well. So also keep yourself break. If you are giving 8 hours per day to your studies, then take a break on every 2 to 3 hours. Just take a half-hour break. And if you sometimes if you will find it very difficult and very demotivated, then take a day break, not an hour or 2 hour break. Just take a break of full day and just do whatever you like. Just eat and just go meet your friends, because this is very important. And you have also got many online materials. Nowadays it is very convenient that you get to know you get into uh, you get to know people who will help you online, like Byju's and all, for school. uh, and there are also other online materials available for IS, PCS and PCSJ preparation. So there are ebooks, so you can download it and you can read it. And what else? You can also listen to some influencers on YouTube. There are influencers who will help you motivate. Uh, I especially used to listen TED Talks. You must be aware of that. So You can when I was in hostel, I used to stick some motivational quotes on the walls, so that when I wake up, I read those, and especially uh, some quotes which are very motivational in our day to day life. We all experience some or the other kinds of hurdles, and just have faith in God. One day or the other, everything will be all right, and this hard time, this too shall pass. And now it was a very, I mean, I would like to really thank the initiative and the persons who are part of this initiative called Lighting Dreams. And it was a very I think it would be very useful session, and with our joint efforts we would be able to help you guys in future as well. And now I would like just any of you to just unmute yourself and ask if you have any doubt or anything, and just let me know that whether it was useful or not, whether my experiences which I shared was of any use, was of any help to you guys.
As ma'am's valuable insights must have given guidance and tips for the step forward, I would like to ask if any more questions remain with the students. They may ask now.
I would like to ask one question.
Yes, Rupal, you
Yes.
may speak.
Ma'am, I am preparing for my LLM entrances, and
Okay.
as you know, I have only 1 month left. So, do you
Okay.
have any tips for me? Because I have a lot of syllabus left.
You're applying for CLAT only, no? For LLM?
Ma'am, CLAT and AMU, and
AMU.
like BHU and all these DU.
Okay, okay, okay. So you have only 1 month time, right?
Yes, ma'am, 1.5 months only.
Okay. So the very first thing which you should do is just go through the last year question papers, whether it is CLAT or AMU or BHU. You will get on the website. BHU ka to I know that you will get on the BHU AC.in. On the website you'll get last year question papers. Just go through them. Just get to know what is the trend,
Yes, ma'am.
from where the questions are being asked, and try to, if all the exams are
Yes, ma'am.
objective type. So try to solve as many questions as possible. Just uh, after 1 or 2 weeks, you just start solving question papers. Set 2 hours time limitation. Okay, and start
Yes, ma'am.
solving questions, and then you judge yourself that whether you are capable to solve, and what are the difficulties you are facing. And one thing more, in objective type questions, the difficulty I faced is that sometimes I read the questions in very hurry, and kuch ka kuch matlab nikal aata
Yes,
tha.
ma'am. I do the same thing.
Yeah, I think most of the people you experience this. So try to read the questions properly, because in BHU, be it BHU, AMU, or all are having a negative marking on their question paper. So be careful. ऐसा ना हो कि आपका negative में चला जाए. So read the questions properly, and inculcate this habit from the from the very moment you start practicing questions.
And ma'am, what specialization should I go for my LLM?
Uh, that depends upon your interest. I think commercial laws are very burning these time. I think you should opt for commercial law
Ma'am, other
as
than
per your
commercial law,
interest.
because I'm an arts student.
Okay, that doesn't make sense. I don't think that's a
Ma'am,
very relevant thing.
ma'am, because commercial law, it goes over my head.
Okay,
Nothing makes sense to me.
then you may also opt for this human rights international law.
Okay, okay. Okay, ma'am. And ma'am, what about IPR?
If you have an interest, you can also go in. You can go for that.
And ma'am, I wanted to know if like you could tell me any career perspective, something in IPR or like criminal law.
Okay. If you opt for IPR, there are two perspectives. One is that you after you complete LLM, you can join PhD and go in the academics as professor. And the other one is there are vacancies uh, for in पेटेंट ऐसे कुछ वैकेंसीज होती हैं आई हर्ड अबाउट इट और ट्रेडमार्क रजिस्ट्रार
Mm-hmm.
हाँ
And ma'am, what about in criminal law?
if you opt for LLM if you opt for criminal law and LLM right
Yes, ma'am.
okay are you also preparing for some competitive exams or you just want to go for
Ma'am, I am thinking about going for judiciary after my LLM.
okay so it will also help in your judiciary preparation
Yes,
because
ma'am.
you will get to learn IPC then CRPC uh, and criminology and all.
Yes,
So it
ma'am.
will help you in your preparation as well. But you can, I think there are also some vacancies in cyber forensics. I'm not very sure. And apart from judiciary, you can also go for APO. This is
Ma'am, what is?
prosecution from
Okay,
uh,
okay.
assistant prosecution officer.
Ma'am, actually, I am going for LLM because सबकी किस्मत इतनी अच्छी नहीं होती ना judiciary clear हो जाए.
No, no, that's another thing. But uh, I would
Like
suggest that it's
to be
a
practical because
yes that's
judiciary is the
that
very
come that
exam.
yes that often comes in our mind because it is better to keep in touch with our studies rather than just sitting down and just preparing for the exam. So it's good. It's not it will and it will benefit you in some or the other way. It will definitely benefit you.
No, ma'am, what if I didn't clear the exam? So, like, I should have a backup, na? Ki, like,
Backup, okay,
yeah.
but don't have this thought in mind.
No, to
Just
have a practical approach to life.
no,
Like, what?
that's good that you are being practical, but why not think that I will crack and I may crack?
No, I will crack.
Uh,
But what if?
just have this in mind that I will and I may crack.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you to each one present for the session. We will be having more such webinars. Details will be shared soon. Special thanks to Tanaya ma'am for her delightful presence. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for listening carefully and patiently, and we will get back soon, very soon in future in some more sessions in future. And
Uh,
thank you everyone once
excuse
again.
me, I have one doubt. May I ask?
Yeah,
I
sure,
was waiting from.
sure, sure.
This is Vedant.